Translation and Interpreting. My name is Trần Huy Căn, and I'm from the English faculty, University of Foreign Language Studies, Da Nang University. So in the first part of this module, together we have revised and taken a look back on some key knowledge about translation. For example, the major methods of translation and different techniques when we translate from a text into from English into Vietnamese or from Vietnamese into English. And now in this second part, we'll talk about interpreting. So what is the purpose of this revision course for interpreting? It is designed to reintroduce learners to fundamental interpretation techniques such as memorizing and note-taking. It's also aimed to assist learners in further practicing consecutive interpreting. So my first question, to help you remember what you have studied in the previous courses of interpreting: how to take notes effectively for interpreting? You get the answer now? Okay, so first of all, never take notes at the cost of failing to perform memory or lose main ideas. So it means that you have to learn how to combine the two basic techniques of interpreting, that is memorizing and taking note. The second piece of advice for taking notes in interpreting is, while listening, try to take mental notes. It means that you should form the habit of drawing a picture in your brain or take notes in your mind. By doing so, by applying this technique, you can remember the information for interpreting for a long time. And also, you should give priority to taking notes in the target language rather than in the source language. For example, if you are interpreting from Vietnamese into English, then most of your notes, they should be in English in the target language rather than in Vietnamese in the source language. Because by doing so, it can help you save a lot of time. Because later, when you look at your notes, you don't have to waste time translating the notes from the source language into the target language. But remember that you can take notes in any way, any method that you want, because it is said that in interpreting, anything goes as long as it works well with you. Because you know that the audiences, they don't care much about your notes. They just care about how you interpret, how you can produce interpreting based on your notes. And here are a few things that you have to bear in mind when you work as an interpreter. First, some notes for English into Vietnamese interpreting. So first of all, and also very important, you have to listen carefully and stay concentrated, 100% concentrated. And you have to show your high level of concentration always. Because you know that if you are working as an interpreter for a conference or a seminar, you just lose your focus or your attention in just some seconds, then you lose a lot of information. The second thing that you have to remember is to take notes and use memory at the same time. It means that you have to combine these two basic techniques for interpreting very well. And remember, don't be affected by structures in the source language. Here, it means English. This one helps you to produce a very natural interpreting product. And the next one, this one I often remind learners when they study interpreting with me. This is never word by word interpret. Just get out the main messages or the main ideas and interpret using structures in the target language. Here is Vietnamese. Because as you know, translation or interpreting is not a matter of single words or single vocabulary, but rather it is a matter of messages and ideas. And here are a few notes for Vietnamese into English interpreting. They are quite different from when you interpret from English to Vietnamese. So first thing, because tenses in English are very important, so when you interpret from Vietnamese into English, pay attention to the tenses. The next thing is the subject-verb agreement. The next one is very common mistake for new interpreters. That is relative clauses. Because if you don't pay attention to this one, then you tend to use more than one main verb in a sentence or in a clause, and grammatically it's wrong. And the last thing is somewhat the same as when you interpret from English to Vietnamese. That is, never do it word by word. Just get out the main ideas and messages and interpret. So, what are some of the secrets to a successful interpreter? Can you guess? There is no better way to improve your interpreting skill than learning by doing. And also, remember, practice makes perfect, but please practice in the right way. So try to use the right techniques for interpreting. So we just took a look back on some basic theories of interpreting. Now, I would like to show you some examples of note-taking. For example, if you listen to this piece of information for interpreting, this one you're interpreting from English into Vietnamese. Western London has suffered a series of natural catastrophes, violent winter storms and flooding and earthquake. Then your notes should be like this. WLG is for what? Yes, it's for Western London. And then suffer, and then catastrophe, storm, flood, earthquake. They are the most important words in that piece of information. They carry the most meanings. And now let's have some further practice. And I would like to show you how to take notes. And this one is still from English into Vietnamese interpreting. So if you listen to this piece of information, France also plans to increase the cost for students who come from outside the European Economic Area. And currently, students in France, including foreign students, they pay about 170 euros a year for a bachelor's degree and 243 euros a year for a master's degree. Officials said the low cost of education in France leads students from countries like China to believe that the quality of French education is lower than what other countries offer. So if you listen to this piece of information, how would you think your notes should be? I guess you all have your notes on your piece of paper right now, right? Okay, now let's compare your notes with my notes. Here you can see an example of taking notes. Some abbreviations, some acronyms, some short forms of words, some signals. And here is another example of how you should take notes for interpreting. And this time we do the other way from Vietnamese into English. So if you listen to this piece of information in Vietnamese, how should you take notes? Here, as you can see, I give you some suggestions to some challenging phrases in that piece of information. For example, rào cản. Here we have the word barriers. Lên án gai gắt, chỉ trích gai gắt, to sharply criticized or to be strongly opposed. Giải pháp hiệu quả, an effective solution to a problem. Now you all have your notes right now, right? Okay, now let's take a look at my notes. Here, you see, most of my notes they are in the target language in English rather than in social language Vietnamese. And I think when you look at these notes, it's not difficult for you to recall them, and this helps you a lot with interpreting. But remember, they are just sample answers, they are just my suggestions. And still remember what I told you in the previous part in the theory of interpreting. When you take notes, you can do it in any way that you want because they are your own notes. So that's the end of the course of revision on translation and interpreting with me. Hope that you find it very interesting and useful. Goodbye for now, and see you next time.